The roar of the crowd hit me like a freight train as the ball spiraled through the crisp autumn air. But it was his eyes, those piercing green ones, that locked onto mine from 50 yards away, promising something dangerous and unspoken. In that split second, before the world exploded into chaos, he broke through the line, tackled me to the turf with a force that stole my breath, and whispered against my ear, "You're mine now, kid. No one's touching you but me." Blood pounded in my temples, not from the hit, but from the heat of his body pinning me down, the secret mark he left on my soul that very night under the stadium lights, a claim no one else could see. I never thought a single football game could rewrite my entire life. But there I was, sprawled on the dew-kissed grass of Eldridge High's field, the scent of crushed leaves and fresh-cut turf filling my lungs. My name's Elias Hart, and back then I was just the quiet guy on the sidelines, the water boy, the equipment manager, the invisible thread holding the team's chaos together. 17 years old, lanky with messy brown hair that always fell into my eyes, and a sketchbook tucked in my backpack where I doodled dreams I was too scared to chase. Eldridge, Ohio, was the kind of small-town America where Friday nights meant bonfires and touchdowns, and secrets like mine stayed buried deeper than the goalposts. That autumn match against Riverton High was legendary before it even kicked off. The air buzzed with that electric tension, leaves swirling like confetti in the wind, the stands packed with flannel-clad families and cheerleaders waving pom-poms like battle flags. I was hauling Gatorade coolers when Coach barked at me to stay close, something about needing an extra hand for towels. But really, I knew it was because I blended into the background. No one noticed Elias, the kid with the thrift store jeans and the faint scar on his cheek from a childhood bike wreck. Then there was Jax Harlan. God, even saying his name now sends a shiver down my spine. Jax was the alpha of alphas, 6'3", broad-shouldered quarterback with sun-bleached blonde hair and a jawline that could cut glass. He moved like he owned the field, every throw a cannon shot, every sprint a declaration of war. The girls swooned, the guys idolized him, and the scouts whispered about scholarships to Ohio State. But me, I saw the cracks. The way his smile faltered in the locker room when the team razzied him about dates. The late-night texts he'd send to no one, staring at his phone like it held the answers to questions he couldn't voice. It started innocently enough, or so I told myself. A week before the game, Jax twisted his ankle in practice. Nothing major, but enough to sideline him for drills. I was taping it up in the trainer's room, my fingers fumbling with the adhesive as he winced. "Easy there, Hart," he teased, his voice low and gravelly, like thunder rolling in from Lake Erie. "You got hands like a surgeon, or what?" I mumbled something about watching YouTube tutorials, my cheeks burning. He laughed, that deep rumble that made my stomach flip, and for a moment, our eyes met. Really met. Not the quick glances I'd stolen during film sessions, but a lock that stretched seconds into eternity. "Thanks, man," he said finally, clapping my shoulder. His touch lingered, warm through my hoodie, and I swear the room tilted. From there, it snowballed. Jax started seeking me out, asking for extra tape, lingering after practice to chat strategy, bumping my arm in the halls with a grin that said more than words ever could. I'd catch him watching me from across the cafeteria, his fork paused mid-air, like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve. And me? I was drowning in it. I'd always known I was different. Whispers in middle school about why I didn't chase skirts. The ache in my chest when I'd see two guys laughing too close on TV. But Jax? He was the sun, and I was just a moth drawn inexorably closer. The night of the match, the stadium lights blazed like fallen stars, casting long shadows over the painted lines. Riverton was up by 7 in the fourth quarter, their defense swarming like hornets. Jax, sweat-slicked and feral, called an audible that no one saw coming. A Hail Mary slant to the end zone. I was on the sideline, heart in my throat, when the snap happened. The ball arced high, perfect spiral, but their linebacker read it like a book. He charged, a wall of muscle barreling toward Jax. Time slowed. Jax dodged left, then spun, but the guy clipped him midair. They tumbled in a heap, grunts echoing over the gasps from the crowd. I don't know what possessed me. Maybe the adrenaline, maybe that unspoken pull, but I vaulted the barrier, sprinting onto the field with a towel in hand, yelling for the ref to call time. Chaos erupted. Whistles blowing, players converging, medics rushing. But Jax shoved them all aside, staggering to his feet, blood trickling from a gash on his forehead. And that's when it happened. In the scrum, as I reached him first, he grabbed my wrist, hard, possessive, and yanked me down with him. We hit the turf together, his body shielding mine from the stampede of cleats and elbows. The crowd's roar faded to a dull hum, drowned out by the thunder of his heartbeat against my chest. "Elias," he breathed, his lips brushing my ear, hot and urgent. "I can't do this without you. You're it for me." Before I could process, he pressed something into my palm. A small silver chain with a football pendant, warm from his skin. "Wear it, for luck, and for us." The ref hauled us up, penalties flying like confetti, but Jax's eyes never left mine. He wiped the blood from his brow, smeared it across my knuckles like war paint, and whispered, "Marked you. Now run with me." The game resumed in a blur. Jax threw the winning pass on the next play, the stands erupting as we clinched it 28-21. But for me, the real victory was that chain around my neck, hidden under my collar, a secret talisman that burned against my skin. After the final whistle, the field turned into a madhouse. Players hugging, coaches bellowing, the band striking up Sweet Caroline. Jax found me by the equipment shed, away from the lights, his jersey torn and grass-stained. "You saved my ass out there," he said, leaning against the chain-link fence, breath coming in ragged bursts. I shrugged, fiddling with the pendant, my voice barely above a whisper. "Just doing my job." He stepped closer, too close, the heat radiating off him like a bonfire. "Nah, it's more than that. You get it, don't you? This, us." My throat tightened. I dreamed of this moment in stolen sketches, late-night confessions to my journal, but reality hit like a blindside tackle. "Jax, what if?" He cut me off, his hand cupping the back of my neck, thumb tracing the chain. "No what ifs. Not tonight." And then, softer than the falling leaves, "I like you, Elias. More than like. You're the only one who sees me." We stood there, inches apart, the world narrowing to the space between us. His lips hovered near mine, a question hanging in the air, but a shout from the parking lot shattered it. His best friend, Brody, hollering for him to join the victory bonfire. Jax pulled back, regret flashing in his eyes. "Promise me you'll come tomorrow? My place. We talk. For real." I nodded, dazed, as he jogged off, leaving me with a heart racing faster than any 2-minute drill. That night, alone in my room with posters of indie bands peeling from the walls, I stared at the ceiling, replaying every second. The chain felt like a brand, a promise etched in silver. Little did I know it was the start of a storm, one that would test every fragile thread of who we were. The next day dawned crisp and golden, leaves carpeting the streets like a welcome mat to whatever came next. Jax's house was on the edge of town, a sprawling ranch style with a wraparound porch and a tire swing creaking in the breeze. His folks were out, Dad on a hunting trip, Mom at her bridge club, so it was just us, the quiet hum of the fridge and the distant bark of neighborhood dogs. He met me at the door in faded Levi's and a flannel shirt, sleeves rolled up to show the corded muscles from endless weight sessions. "Hey," he said, simple as that, but his smile lit up the dim hallway. We ended up in his room, posters of Tom Brady and the Buckeyes dominating the walls, a twin bed shoved against the window overlooking the woods. He paced like a caged lion, finally flopping onto the mattress and patting the spot beside him. "Sit, before I chicken out." I perched on the edge, the bed dipping under our weight. "About last night," I started, but he waved it off. "Yeah, the tackle, the chain, all of it." He raked a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. "Look, Elias, I've known since sophomore year. The way I feel is not normal. Not here. But with you, feels right. Like breathing." My pulse thrummed. "Me too. Always have. But Jax, the team, your dad, he's the mayor. For God's sake. What if they..." He leaned in, forehead to mine, his breath mingling with the faint scent of his cologne, pine and citrus. Then we fight. Together. You're not just some sidekick anymore. You're my anchor. We talked for hours, about the pressure of being the golden boy, the fear of losing everything, the dreams we hid like contraband. He confessed how he'd watch me sketch during breaks, mesmerized by the way my pencil danced, capturing the raw beauty of the world he bulldozed through. I admitted how his laugh made the monotony of small-town life bearable, a spark in the gray. By sunset, our hands intertwined, fingers lacing like they'd always belonged. No kisses yet, just the profound comfort of shared silence, the kind that stitches souls. But as I left, waving from my beat-up bike, a shadow crept in. Brody's truck idled at the curb, his silhouette unmistakable. He didn't wave back, just stared, hard and unreadable. I pedaled faster, the chain around my neck suddenly heavy, a warning bell in the fading light. Weeks blurred into a secret rhythm after that afternoon. Jax and I carved out stolen moments like thieves in the night. Dawn runs through the misty cornfields where our sneakers crunched frost-laced earth. Whispered conversations behind the bleachers with the river's murmur as cover. Hands brushing in the equipment room until the spark between us could ignite dry tinder. He called me E, his voice dropping low on texts that lit up my phone like fireflies. Miss your sketches. Draw me something wild tonight? I'd oblige, charcoal lines tracing the curve of his shoulders. The intensity in his gaze, pages I'd hide under my mattress like contraband. Eldridge buzzed with postseason hype. Jax led us to playoffs, his arm a rocket under pressure, the town chanting his name like a prayer. I was still the shadow figure, but now with purpose. Taping his wrists before games, our fingers lingering in ritual, eyes promising more. At home, things were quieter. Mom worked double shifts at the diner. Dad long gone to Cleveland for better jobs, leaving me with microwave dinners and the hum of the old TV. My sketches evolved, filling with Jax's form amid autumn's palette. Russet fields, amber skies, the gold of his hair catching light like a halo. One crisp Saturday, he dragged me to the Harlan family cabin up in Hocking Hills. An hour's drive through winding roads flanked by ancient oaks shedding crimson carpets. Need a break from the madness, he said, tossing my backpack into his truck's bed. The cabin was rustic charm, log walls, a stone fireplace crackling with fresh pine, windows framing vistas of fog-shrouded valleys. We arrived at noon, the sun filtering through branches like stained glass, and for the first time, it felt like we could breathe without glancing over shoulders. We hiked the trails first, boots crunching leaves, Jax pointing out deer tracks and hidden waterfalls with the enthusiasm of a kid. This place has been in my family forever, he said, swinging from a low branch. Grandpa used to tell stories about outrunning moonshiners here during Prohibition. Feels like another world. I laughed, snapping photos on my phone. The way the light dappled his face, turning him ethereal. You're the story now, I murmured, and he paused, pulling me close against a mossy trunk. Our first kiss happened there. Tentative at first, lips brushing like whispers, then deepening with the hunger we'd banked for months. It tasted of mint gum and freedom, his hands framing my face as if I were fragile art. When we broke apart, foreheads touching, he grinned. Worth the wait, E. The afternoon melted into lazy domesticity. Chopping wood for the fire, me failing hilariously, him showing off with effortless swings. Frying trout he'd caught that morning over an open flame, the sizzle mingling with our laughter. As dusk fell, painting the hills in bruised purples, we sat on the porch swing, wrapped in a shared quilt, stars pricking the velvet sky. Jax traced the chain around my neck, his fingers warm. Remember the game? Thought I'd die if I didn't claim you right then. I leaned into him, heart full. You did. And now, he said, voice husky, I guard you. Always. We talked dreams. Him eyeing pro ball but craving something real beyond the roar. Me whispering about art school in Columbus, portfolios bursting with our hidden world. Vulnerability poured out like the creek nearby, washing away fears. That night, we slept side by side on the lumpy couch, fully clothed, just holding on, the fire's embers mirroring the glow in my chest. But paradise has cracks. Sunday morning, as we packed, Jax's phone buzzed incessantly. Texts from Brody, voicemails from Coach. Team meeting tonight. Scouting report on next opponents. His jaw tightened. Brody's been weird lately. Snapping at practice. Eyeing me like I stole his lunch. I shrugged it off, but unease nod. Brody Klein was Jax's ride or die since Pee Wee League. Tall, brooding, with a chip on his shoulder from a dad who bailed young. Loyalty defined them, but envy simmered beneath. Back in Eldridge, the bubble burst. Practice that week was brutal. Mud churning under lights as cold rain lashed down. I was folding towels when I overheard Brody cornering Jax by the lockers. "What's with you, man? Ditching hangs for that weirdo Hart? He's got you twisted." Jax's voice, steel-edged. "Back off, bro. Elias is solid. Better than your drama." A shove, a curse, and Coach broke it up. But the seed was planted. That night, Jax showed up at my window, soaked and shaking, climbing the trellis like Romeo on steroids. "Can't stay home. Dad's on a tear about grades." We huddled under blankets, my room a sanctuary of posters and sketchpads. He confessed Brody's digs had escalated, jabs about priorities, sidelong glances at me during huddles. He's family, but jealous? Of what? I stroked his hair, damp strands curling under my fingers. "People fear what they don't get. You're shining too bright." He nuzzled closer, murmuring thanks, but sleep evaded us both. Dawn brought a fragile peace, but Monday at school, the whispers started. Notes in my locker. "Freak. Stay away from Jay." And signed, but the scrawl screamed Brody. Jax confronted him at lunch, voices rising in the quad until teachers intervened. "It's nothing," Jax insisted later, squeezing my hand under the table. But I saw the fracture lines spreading. The semifinals loomed, a grudge match against Central Ohio's Beasts. Jax threw himself into prep, drills till dark, but tension coiled like a spring. One evening, post-scrimmage, he pulled me into the empty weight room, the clang of irons echoing our unease. "Promise me something," he said, spotting me on bench presses, his hands steady on the bar. "No matter what, we hold on. You're my North Star, E." I nodded, reps burning, but his eyes held storms. That night, alone, I sketched us as warriors in the leaves, fierce, unyielding. Little did I know, betrayal brewed closer than the frost on my windowpane. It hit during a team bonfire at Brody's farm, flames leaping high against the November chill, beers cracking open under a harvest moon. Jax had insisted I come. "You're part of this now." So I tagged along, sketchbook in tow, drawing the fire's dance on embers. The guys razzied good-naturedly at first, passing me a soda, but Brody's stare burned hotter than the pit. As midnight neared, stories turned rowdy. Conquests bragged, girls named like trophies. Jax deflected with laughs, arms slung casual over my shoulders, but the air thickened. Then Brody struck. Drunk on cheap whiskey, he lurched up, pointing a finger like accusation. "Harlan's gone soft, mooning over the art fag instead of the game." Laughter rippled, uneasy, then died as Jax surged forward. "Say that again, Klein." Fists clenched, shadows flickering on their faces. Brody sneered. "Truth hurts, QB. Saw you two at the cabin." Disgusting. The word landed like a gut punch. How? Stolen weekends weren't secrets anymore. The fight exploded in seconds. Jax swinging wild, Brody tackling low, grunts and curses swallowed by the crackle. I yelled, lunging to pull them apart, but a stray elbow caught my jaw, stars bursting. Teammates swarmed, hauling them off, but damage was done. Bloodied lips, fractured trust. Jax shoved free, grabbing my arm. "We're out." In the truck, rain pelting the windshield, he slammed the dash. He followed us, spied like some creep. Tears stung my eyes, not from the bruise blooming on my cheek. What now? The team's fracturing. He pulled over on a deserted stretch, headlights cutting fog. "Screw the team. I choose you." His kiss was fierce, tasting of copper and resolve, hands cradling my face like porcelain. We drove home in silence, the chain between us a lifeline. But Brody's betrayal echoed, a harbinger. Whispers turned to shouts, the town's underbelly stirring. Jax's dad called a family talk. Coach benched Brody pending review, and I became the villain in their script. Sketches torn from my bag, slurs scrawled on my locker. Homewrecker. Through it, Jax guarded me, walking me to classes, deflecting stares with glares that could shatter glass. "They'll get over it," he'd say, lacing our fingers in hidden corners. But doubt crept in, cold as the wind stripping trees bare. The finals approached, a do-or-die against state powerhouses, and Jax's throws faltered, scouts murmuring pullouts. One night, post-argument with his dad. "You're throwing away your future for him?" Jax showed at my door, hollow-eyed. "He knows E." Threatened to pull strings, tank my apps. I pulled him inside, Mom asleep upstairs, oblivious. "Then we go public, before they twist it." He shook his head, burying face in my shoulder. "Not yet. One more game. Prove I'm unbreakable." His vulnerability cracked me open, the alpha unmasked, just a boy terrified of losing light. We held each other till dawn, whispers weaving promises, but the storm gathered, thunder rumbling from all sides. December frosted eldridge in silver, the fields gone fallow, but the state championship burned hotter than summer asphalt. Columbus's stadium loomed like a coliseum, 50,000 seats hungry for glory, banners snapping in the wind off the Scioto River. Jax trained like a man possessed, dawn waits, film till midnight. His body a machine, but his eyes shadowed, the weight of secrets pressing like an unpinned barbell. I shadowed him too, now openly at his side in the stands, our clasped hands a quiet rebellion. The town split. Old-timers grumbled about distractions, but younger crowds cheered louder, whispers of support filtering through like cracks in ice. Brody's exile stung deepest. Suspended indefinitely, he vanished. Rumors of booze-fueled benders, a wrecked truck on County Road 9. Jax mourned the friendship in stolen moments, punching bags till knuckles split. "He was my brother," he'd rasp, tape unraveling. I'd rewrap them, fingers gentle. "Grieve but don't break. We've got this." Our bond deepened in the forge, nights studying plays on my bedroom floor, his head in my lap as I read poetry from my worn frost collection, lines about diverging roads mirroring our path. "Two roads," he'd murmur, "but we're on the same one now." Public ripples grew. A local blogger outed us in a snide post. Harlan's fumble? Love or liability? Shares exploding on Facebook groups. Jax's dad, Mayor Harlan, issued a terse statement. "Family matters are private. Focus on the field." But pressure mounted. Scouts hedged calls, sponsors whispered clauses. Mom cornered me one evening over meatloaf, her diner apron still tied. "Elias, this boy. He's good for you." Her eyes, tired but kind, searched mine. I nodded, voice steady. "He's everything." She hugged me then, fierce, whispering, "Then fight for it, baby. World's changing, but hearts ain't." The game day dawned brittle clear, skies a hard blue over domed lights. We rode the bus in tense quiet, Jax's knee bouncing against mine. In the locker room, he pulled me into a utility closet, the scent of bleach sharp. "For luck," he said, kissing me slow, deliberate, like sealing a vow. "Guard my back out there?" I grinned, adjusting his pads. "Always." The tunnel echoed with pregame anthems, Eye of the Tiger blasting as we emerged to thunderous applause and jeers, pockets of hate from rival fans waving signs. No gays in the game. The first half was war. Jax orchestrated drives like symphonies, slinging passes through triple coverage, but our defense leaked like a sieve. Down 14 at the break, the locker room reeked of sweat and despair, coach's clipboard splintering against a bench. Jax stood, jersey soaked, rallying with fire. "We don't fold. This is ours." His gaze found mine across the room, steel in the green, and something shifted, resolve hardening like frost. Third quarter flipped the script. Jax scrambled on a broken play, evading sacks to thread a 40-yard bomb to our receiver, the ball kissing turf in the end zone. Tie game. Crowd surged, my cheers lost in the wave. But on the next series, disaster. A blindside hit from their linebacker. Same brute who'd clipped Jax in autumn. Sent him sprawling, helmet skidding. Flags flew, but he rose slow, clutching ribs, pain etching his face. Medics swarmed. I vaulted the barrier again, heart hammering, pushing through to his side. Jax, talk to me. He gripped my hand under the huddle, hidden from cams. Cracked maybe, but I'm finishing this. Coach protested, but Jax's glare silenced him. Back in, he gutted through short dumps, clock-chewing runs, tying it at 28 with seconds left. Overtime, our ball. The snap, the drop back, pressure closing like jaws. Jax planted, eyes scanning, then locked on the end zone. The throw, perfect arc, leather slicing air. It hung forever. Their corner leaped, fingers grazing. But no, touchdown. 34-28. The stadium erupted, confetti cannons blooming like fireworks. Jax mobbed by teammates in a dogpile. I watched from the sideline, tears blurring, pride swelling till it ached. He broke free, jersey torn, sprinting to me through the melee, lifting me in a spin that blurred the world. We did it, E. His shout drowned in cheers, but his whisper cut through. Couldn't without you. Trophy presentation was a blur. Governors shaking hands, Jax hoisting crystal under arcs of light, his smile megawatt for the flashes. But backstage, in the green room's hush, reality crashed. Reporters swarmed. Jax, rumors about you and the manager true? He froze, mic thrust forward. I tensed beside him, but he straightened, arm around my waist, bold as brass. Elias Hart's my partner. Saved my season, my life. Any questions on the game? Gasps, shutters clicking frenzy. But he held firm, green eyes defiant. The ride home was euphoric haze. Bus singing, "We are the champions." Jax's head on my shoulder, metal around my neck like borrowed glory. Eldridge welcomed us heroes. Parade down Main, floats with crepe paper leaves. Mayor Harlan beaming forced from the dais. But under the floats, darkness stirred. That night, as fireworks popped over the river, Jax's phone lit with unknowns. Freak. Quitte. You'll burn. Doxing threads on Reddit, trolls amplifying the hate. We holed up at my place. Mom baking victory pie, her quiet support a bomb. Ignore the noise, boys. Real wins last. Jax paced, fury coiling. Dad's radio silent. Thinks I'm ruined. I pulled him down, mapping constellations on his palm. You're not. We're unbreakable. But doubt flickered. Scholarship calls drying up, whispers of transfers. And Brody? A text at midnight. Congrats, traitor. But I know you're dirt. Watch your back. Morning brought the backlash tsunami. Front page Gazette. Championship glory tarnished by scandal? Protests at town hall. Picket signs decrying agenda. Pastor Hale thundering from pulpit about Sodom's fall. Jax's dad summoned us to the mansion, oak-paneled study reeking of cigars and old money. Son, this stunt. It's over. His voice, clipped as shears. Jax bristled. No, Dad. Elias stays. Mayor's eyes narrowed on me, cold appraisal. You're poison, boy. Dragging him down. I stood tall, chain glinting. Love's not poison. Hiding is. The ultimatum dropped like guillotine. Renounce publicly, or lose the house, the legacy, the future. Jax's face drained, but he chose me, us. Storming out with a slammed door that echoed like thunderclap. We crashed at the cabin that weekend, snow dusting the hills, holing up with hot cocoa and board games, rebuilding in whispers. We'll start fresh, he vowed, sketching crude maps of new cities. You, me, art shows and tryouts. Hope bloomed fragile, but betrayal's shadow lengthened. Anonymous emails flooded. Photos from the cabin, twisted captions. Jax's truck vandalized. Tires slashed with FAG carved deep. Climax brewed mid-January. a nor'easter blanketing Ohio in whiteout. Jax's phone rang. Brody, slurred and desperate. Harlan, need help. Wrecked on 23. Bad. Guilt twisted Jax's gut. He grabbed keys despite my pleas. Can't leave him dying. I insisted on going. Shotgun in the blizzard. Wipers battling veils of snow. The road to the crash was a ghost lane, drifts swallowing lines. We found him flipped in a ditch, engine steaming, blood streaking snow. Brody! Jax hauled him out, me dialing 911 through static. As sirens wailed distant, Brody coughed, eyes glassy on Jax. Knew you'd come. But him. A weak shove at me, then collapse. Ambulance lights pierced the storm. Paramedics loading him as cops arrived. Routine. Till one pulled Jax aside. Harlan? This about that fight? Klein's been talking, says you too. Involved in something shady. Jax paled. What? No. The cop's radio crackled. Dispatch on the blogger post. The photos. Son, we got complaints. Harassment claims. Brody, from the gurney, rasped a lie. They attacked me. Jealous. Betrayal's knife plunged deep. His rescue, a trap, feeding the narrative to bury us. Jax roared, lunging, but I held him back, snow soaking us. Don't. He's broken. Let truth out. Cops detained us for statements, station house fluorescent harsh, coffee bitter as regret. Mayor arrived, suit crisp, spinning webs. My boys distraught. This confusion ends now. But Jax broke free, voice raw. Dad, stop. I love Elias. End of story. Flashbulbs popped outside, media circus swelling. Released by dawn, we drove in silence. Brody's ambulance long gone to Mercy Hospital. The storm passed, but ours raged. Town meetings called for morals clauses. Scholarships revoked, Jax's name dragged through mud. I found him at the field that night, alone under goalposts, kicking dirt. It's over, E. Can't drag you through this hell. Tears carved tracks on his cheeks. I wrapped arms around him, fierce. We're the championship. We fight. February's thaw brought mud and malice. Eldridge's streets slick with melt and murmured condemnations. Jax and I became pariahs. Grocery runs met with averted eyes. School halls parting like Red Sea for lepers. My sketches, once private joys, now public fodder. Someone leaked my portfolio online, twisted into evidence of obsession. Jax's throws in pickup games faltered. Scouts cards returned marked withdrawn. We clung tighter, nights in my room mapping escapes. Bus tickets to Pittsburgh, where a cousin offered couch space. Art gigs and galleries hungry for fresh voices. Mom became our rock, packing lunches with notes. Hearts heal. Keep yours open. She'd hug Jax like a son, sharing stories of her own youth's quiet rebellions against factory life. World's big beyond these cornstalks, she'd say, pouring coffee strong as resolve. But Brody's web tightened. From his hospital bed, he spun tales to cops. Claims of coercion. Forged texts painting Jax as aggressor. Charges loomed. Assault, harassment, whispers of worse. Mayor Harlan pulled strings, DA's office humming with favors. One gray afternoon, as rain sheeted the windows, Jax paced my kitchen, fists balled. He's destroying us to save face. Why? I pulled up news clips on my laptop. Brody's interview, bandaged and teary. Betrayed by my best friend. For that, the word dripped venom. Jax slammed the lid. I gave him everything. Bailouts from his old man's shadow, alibis for his screw-ups. Pain etched deeper than bruises. I cupped his face. Then we expose it. Truth's our play. We gathered evidence. Timestamps on cabin photos, public trails, no trespass, witness statements from hikers, my untouched phone logs. A local ally emerged, Ms. Rivera, the English teacher who'd praised my poems, queer herself in a town that pretended otherwise. File a countersuit, she urged over clandestine tea at her bungalow. Defamation. He's the spider. With her guidance, we drafted affidavits, hearts pounding as we signed. Sending them felt like launching a grenade. Lawyers notified. Press tipped anonymously. Ripples hit fast. Gazette ran a balanced piece. Twist in Harlan-Klein feud. Accusations fly both ways. Protests flipped. LGBTQ plus groups from Columbus marching Main Street with rainbows on placards. Chants of love winds echoing off brick facades. Jax's mom, silent till now, called, "Your father's wrong. Come home." But the mayor doubled down. Emergency council meeting decrying moral decay. Jax attended, me at his side in the back row, chain visible like badge. When his dad thundered about protecting youth, Jax stood, voice steady as a huddle call. From what? Love? Elias and I are the youth. And we're proud. Gasps rippled. Applause scattered. Security escorted us out, but videos went viral. Eldridge Pride trending. Celebs retweeting from coasts. Scouts circled back. One from Penn State emailing. Character matters. Yours shines. Hope flickered, but Brody struck low. Night of the council as we walked home arm in arm, headlights swerved. A black SUV, tires screeching. Jax shoved me aside, taking the graze. Tire iron through the window, shattering glass, slicing his arm deep. Blood bloomed on pavement. My scream raw as I cradled him. Run. Cops arrived, sirens wailing, but the vehicle vanished into alleys. Hospital again. Stitches. Cops grilling. Enemies? Jax? Pale under fluorescence. Rasped. Klein's crew. Payback. Evidence mounted. Dashcam from a neighbor. Partial plate tracing to Brody's uncle. Arrests followed dawn. Brody hauled in cuffs. His lies crumbling under forensics. It was a joke, he blubbered in interrogation leaks. Didn't mean, but the DA pressed. Conspiracy, assault. The town teetered. Funerals for old hates, church potlucks inviting us, apologies inked on cards. Mayor Harlan resigned amid scandals, his favors exposed in audits. Jax's mom divorced quietly, moving to Florida with promises of weekly calls. We testified in Brody's hearing, voices unwavering. Me detailing the doxing's terror, Jax forgiving publicly. You were family. Wish you'd chosen better. Judge sentenced light. Probation, counseling. But the fracture healed crooked. Trust a scar. Spring greened Eldridge tentative. Dogwoods blushing against blue skies. Jax's arm healed crooked too. A puckered line he called, our badge. Scholarships poured in, not just ball but leadership grants. His coming out op-ed in The Atlantic, ghosted with my edits, going national. From gridiron to guardian. A quarterback's queer awakening. Me? Acceptance to Columbus College of Art. Portfolio funded by a GoFundMe wave. Graduation dawned balmy. Caps sailing like leaves in wind. Valedictorian. Jax, of course. Spoke to packed bleachers. We learned to tackle fears, not friends. Love's the real MVP. His eyes found mine in the crowd. Green fire steady. Diploma in hand, he pulled me on stage post-ceremony. Kissing me under arches of balloons. Cheers drowning old booze. Marked you then, he whispered. Guard you forever. But humanism's not fairy dust. Scars linger. Brody wrote from rehab. Sorry doesn't fix, but I'm trying. We didn't reply, but Jax kept the letter. A reminder of Grace's cost. Mom beamed from the stands, new boyfriend in tow. A mechanic with kind eyes. Proud of my boys, she said, hugging us tight. Summer hummed with possibility. Road trip to the coast, sketching dunes while Jax tossed frisbees with locals, our laughter free. Yet in quiet moments, doubts whispered. Would distance fray us? Big cities swallow small-town hearts? But Jax's hand in mine, chain glinting in sun, silenced them. We're the story now, and it's just beginning. One evening, as fireflies danced over the river, we sat on the old bleachers, feet dangling. Remember the autumn match? I asked, head on his shoulder. He chuckled, arm around me. Best tackle of my life. We watched stars emerge. Two boys who'd claimed each other against odds. Guardians in a world still learning to yield. Yet the arc bent toward light, not without shadows. In fall, Columbus called dorms for me, tryouts for him. First weeks ached. Texts at odd hours, visits squeezed between classes. But we adapted, weaving lives, coffee dates in short north galleries, his games where I'd cheer from stands, chain proud on my neck. Betrayal's echo faded, replaced by deeper roots. Friends who saw us whole, mentors who championed. A year in, during homecoming redux, Jax proposed not ring but vow. Under stadium lights, knee not bent but heart open. Elias Hart, you're my alpha. Marry me when worlds align. Tears pricked. I nodded, kissing him fierce. The crowd, our crowd, roared approval. Life unfolded human, messy, profound. Jax walked on at Penn State, Armstrong. I exhibited in Soho by 20. Eldridge evolved. Pride flags on Main, Brody sober and distant. A nod at reunions. We returned summers, hands linked, showing small-town America that love guards, endures, transforms. And in every autumn leaf, every spiral pass, I felt his mark. Not possession, but promise. Guarded, yes, but free. Years layered like autumn's leaves, burying the raw edges of that first season. By 25, Jax and I had built a life in Pittsburgh. Loft in Lawrenceville, exposed brick and skylights framing skyline views. My studio corner bursting with canvases of him. Quarterback in repose, green eyes capturing light like emeralds. He coached high school ball now, not pro-glamour but molding kids with the lessons we'd clawed from dirt, resilience, authenticity. No more closets, he'd tell them, subtle as a play call, fostering teams where difference was strength. I taught adjunct at Carnegie Mellon, sketches evolving to murals in community centers, themes of hidden guardians and marked souls resonating with queer youth. Our wedding was small, Ohio Hills in June bloom. Mom officiating after online ordination, Jax in linen suit, me in vintage vest, vows exchanged under the cabin's ancient oak. You tackled my heart, I said, ring sliding warm, and I'll guard it eternal, he replied. Kiss ceiling under cheers of chosen family. Eldridge visited in waves. Reunions where old teammates clapped Jax's back. Brody's absence a polite ghost. He'd moved west, construction work, occasional cards. Heard about the book. Proud man. Jax's memoir, Spiral Truth. A quarterback's path to love. Hit shelves that fall. Climbing charts with raw prose we'd co-wrote by fireside. It humanized us. Not heroes, but fumbling boys who'd chosen light over legacy. Reviews praised. Hart and Harlan remind us. Betrayal breaks, but forgiveness rebuilds. Challenges lingered, humanistic grit. Jax's shoulder, that old crack, flared in damp springs, sidelining drills. Therapy sessions unpacked dad wounds, his voice cracking over buried affections for the man who'd shaped yet shunned him. I'd hold him then, sketches forgotten, just presence. My own shadows, imposter syndrome in galleries, the scar of slurs echoing in quiet, faded under his steady gaze. You're the artist who saw me first, he'd remind, fingers tracing my palm. Parenthood crept in unexpected. Fostering first, a teen named Riley, gangly with haunted eyes, fleeing small-town echoes of ours. Safe here? He'd ask, backpack clutched. Jax knelt. Honest. We fought for this. You'll fight too. Nights of board games and bad movies knit us three. Adoption papers signed on a rainy April, Riley's middle name Hart Harlan. He bloomed, soccer star, sketch apprentice, our guardian legacy past. Betrayals revisited in echoes. A student outed cruelly, mirroring Brody's web. Jax testified at hearings, voice amplified by scars. Hates a fumble, pick up grace. Media called, podcasts probing. Regrets, Jax arm around me. Only not sooner. We traveled, New York openings, California coasts, always returning to roots, cabin weekends with Riley tossing spirals and leaves. One autumn, 20 years postmark, we returned for Eldridge's homecoming. Stadium renovated, lights brighter, banners nodding to that championship. Jax keynote, Riley beside, my mural of the game adorning the press box. Two figures entangled in turf, symbolic claim. This field taught me, life's no solo run, Jack said, green eyes scanning us. It's tackles, turns, and the one who rises with you. Crowd thundered, inclusive now, pride pins glinting. Brody appeared post-speech, graying but straight-backed, handshake tentative. Water under, he said, eyes on Riley. Got a boy your age. Teaches me daily. Jax nodded. Bridge mended not whole, but spanned. Good. Keep throwing. As leaves swirled, we walked the field. Riley ahead kicking field goals. Jax's hand in mine. Still guarding. I teased. Chain long replaced by tattoo. Football laced with vines on my collarbone. He pulled me close, lips brushing. Till the last whistle. The mark endured, not alpha claim, but equal vow, humanistic in its imperfection. Love as guard, betrayal as teacher, autumn eternal. In quiet afterglows, sketching by lamplight, I trace our arc. From desperate tackle to enduring spiral. No fairy tale, but real as Ohio soil. Dramatic falls, suspenseful rises, emotional depths plumbed, romantic fires banked warm. We guard each other, marked forever. In America's heart, where stories like ours rewrite the playbook. And if life's a match, ours ends not in tragedy's fade, but victory's embrace. Human, hopeful, holy hours. Decades folded gently after. At 50, Jax retired coaching, gray threading gold, body softened but spirit unbowed. We volunteered at youth centers, his stories mentoring, my art workshops freeing hands to draw truths. Riley, grown with his own family, a husband, kids with Harlan curls, visited holidays, grandbabies tumbling in leaves, echoes of our start. Eldridge honored us. Street named Hart Harlan Way, statue by the field, 2 youths in eternal huddle. Mayor's plaque, guardians of the game. Betrayals? Faded footnotes, lessons in Riley's tales to his sons. Grandpa Jax chose love over crowns. In final autumns, cabin porch swings creaked under our weight, hands veined but laced. Best call I made, Jax murmured, sunset gilding green eyes dimmed but deep. You, I leaned, sketching air. Marked and mended. No end, just continuum, dramatic, gay capping, emotional romance, humanistic guard eternal.